wealthy place. I would love to know where you're tuning in from. Do let me know. Let me know in the chat. Let's use the chat to be able to communicate with each other. I've got this here so I can see you here. Welcome, welcome, Annette. Welcome, welcome. Let me put that over there so I can see that a little bit better. So, welcome to your wealthy place. I'm so glad that you are here. This training is for you. This is for you if you are an ambitious coach, a leader, a founder, an entrepreneur, an investor, and you know that your reality is a reflection of your thoughts and your emotions, your identity, your nervous system, the behaviors, all the things. And I really want you to walk away with this, that your subconscious has a 100% success rate at keeping the status quo, delivering programs that you likely haven't chosen. And so this is where we identify and remove the hidden energetic and identity level resistance that's quietly capping your next level so that your next level growth becomes natural, stable, and inevitable. So I want to teach you how to create more overflow with more ease by shifting the subconscious and energetic patterns that are quietly running your results, because you can spend hours doing the work, healing, processing, pushing, all the things. Oh, it says I'm muted still. Let's turn that off already. I think everyone can hear me. Beautiful. So we're going to be diving into this today so that you can see what's been capping you. And so often it can feel like that you're doing all the things, you're just not moving in the way that you know that you're capable of. So we'll find out what's been capping you. And then if you'd love me to continue supporting you inside the Wealth Portal, we'll dive in deeper, we'll cover all the aspects, and you can recalibrate so that you're in energetic alignment with your desires and plans, and you can stabilize your next level so that it holds. So for me, this is the most important strategy that we can implement as entrepreneurs and founders and investors, as everything comes after our energetic alignment and what we're aligned to. You know, we're always aligned to something. Let me know if that resonates. Let's see who is here with me. Welcome, welcome. So is this resonating for you? I would love to hear where you are tuning in from, whether you're live with me or, of course, on the replay. And what your intention is for this next 30 days. When you're thinking about the revenue that you're creating, what is your intention? Let me know in the comments below. And the thing is that every single human, once you learn this, you will see this reflected back to you in how your team behaves with you, with what they're energetically aligned with, how your clients and customers are showing up and what they're aligned with. You know, do they follow through on their intended actions, or does a pattern kick in to keep things the same? And, you know, you'll see this with your customers, your family members, your loved ones, all the people that you're interacting with. So this is going to have a ripple effect across all aspects of life. And, you know, I see this all the time, not only with my clients, but with myself as well. So I wanted to share a personal story. So recently I was halfway through an 8-hour journey when this really landed for me. And it was somewhere between, I was on a long journey to Prachuap Khiri Khan in Thailand, between planes and taxis and the endless road that stretched before me. I took advantage of the protected space I have for my own personal energetic audit. So I went within, I started self-muscle testing using the proprietary framework that I teach within inside the Wealth Portal. And what surfaced really surprised me, because I discovered a triggered hidden default set point. And what it was, how it kind of showed up was, I believed I was being an excellent steward by keeping a significant amount of capital liquid in a high interest savings account. So I was telling myself it was tactical, and it was aligned when I first implemented the strategy a couple of years ago. You know, I was holding that capital in high interest savings because I wanted quick access to it to buy a house. So that was the smart move then. But now I haven't found where I want to live. And over time, I realized I don't actually want to buy a property yet. And the impact of holding on to an outdated strategy was essentially keeping my expanded wealth in a waiting room, if you like, for a destination that didn't yet exist. Now, you could say it looked like responsibility, but this bit is the key bit. This is how the misalignment showed up, because I recognized that as I was doing the testing, I could feel the somatic imprint, the subtle, persistent tightening in my chest. I could feel it in my body, and this hesitation to move the money. My nervous system was still orientating around safety rather than expansion. Does that make sense? So I was still broadcasting from an old identity, the little achiever who believed she had to grip on tightly and stay liquid just to keep her world from wobbling. So it's the part of our identity that is equating bracing for impact with being prepared. And in reality, it wasn't protecting my future home. It was just actually quietly costing me my peace. And I share this because I see this all the time with high-level founders and investors. And the thing is, it doesn't always look like fear. These default set points, they can look like being sensible. It can look like we're waiting for the perfect moment whilst your vision is actually growing dusty on the shelf. But living at your hidden default set points creates a ceiling on the level of joy and the level of juiciness that you're able to broadcast and attract in your life. And once I cleared the frequency of that contraction, my entire being relaxed, and I imprinted the next evolution of me, the leader who trusts the movement of these larger amounts of capital as a natural flow, and the version of me who allocates with clarity, coherence. This is the coherence wealth that I talk about, and holds that expansion without the subtle need to brace for impact. Does that resonate? So often we're not thinking it's about bracing for impact, but there's a low level rumbling of tension that will give us these clues. So for me, the result, wasn't just a better decision. I moved into this different level of coherent wealth. I regained my calm and that certainty that I am supported by the field. I'm not reliant on, just hard work. So if this is resonating, I would love to invite you to share this with others. You can simply share the share button so that it's shared on all the social media platforms that you like to hang out in. Share it with your business besties, your colleagues, your clients. I would truly appreciate this. This will help us spread the word and for more people to benefit from the impact of this work, which will support them in leading from their higher self and fulfilling their potential in life and business. A huge welcome to those of you that are just joining us. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Karen. Wonderful to have you here. So excited that you made it. Alrighty, for those of you that are joining us live, and of course, if you're on the replay, do let us know where you're tuning in from. I would love to say hello. And if you have any questions at any moment in time whilst we are running through this and sharing this experience together, do pop them in the chat. If I don't see them straight away, I'll circle back and answer them for you. Now, as you are already here, you are likely a high-level, self-aware individual, and you are already investing in your personal growth. So you're viewing the problem. I want you to invite you to see this as you're viewing the problem in sophisticated ways. So see what resonates for you here. Perhaps you're thinking that you need a better strategy. You need to, refine the offer, fiddle with the messaging for the umpteenth time. Now, the key here is where this is a distraction over solution. And what's really happening is you're trying to solve an energetic capacity issue with a strategic tool. So perhaps you tell yourself, I need to be more consistent, or I need to be disciplined. If I just showed up more, if I just stayed consistent, if I stop dropping the ball. So what's happening here is there's this element of self-pressure. And your consciousness is resisting the level that you're trying to operate at. So the inconsistency is a symptom of the internal energetic misalignment rather than the problem. Does that make sense? You may be recognizing that you're thinking in your mind, something still needs healing. Now, there is a fine line here. We can feel really productive in the healing zone. I'm handling it, I'm taking care of it. It can be misaligned when it keeps us in an energetic loop. So instead of moving out of that frequency into the next level, we're caught in an energy reversal around healing. And an energy reversal is where we're holding an energetic imprint that is taking us backwards, basically. And they typically come from trauma or somewhere where we didn't have the coping mechanisms for an experience that we were experiencing. And so that is an energy reversal. So if you hear me talk about that, that's what I mean. You may be recognizing that, you know that you're at an upper limit, but you think you can just override it, push harder, stretch more, override your nervous system. This doesn't work. Ask me how I know. And this does just create expansion and contraction cycles. And then when you have success, the thing is, you then fear that the other shoe is going to drop because your nervous system isn't calibrated to that level. Or perhaps you found yourself thinking it's just timing. The market has changed. Buyers are being more discerning. There's a war going on, all the things. Now, here's the sneaky thing. When we're thinking this, we are protecting our identity because we're looking outward instead of thinking, this feedback is showing me my current set point can't yet hold that next level. Does that make sense? So you'll notice the common thread here is the problems that they're external, that they're behavioral, or there's something to fix. But after helping over 10,000 entrepreneurs now, I found that the real problem, and it's what I call your human Wi-Fi, your energy field. So your human Wi-Fi is calibrated to what you isn't calibrated to what you say you actually want. So there's something in your identity, in your nervous system that is quietly keeping you regulated at your current level, no matter what you do. So your level that you're operating at currently now is rarely a strategy problem. It's a calibration problem. And this always comes first. Whenever I'm working with clients, if I'm doing business coaching with them, I'm doing the energetics with them as well, because we're looking at what's happening energetically so we can get energetically aligned before we start to implement strategies. Because once you're calibrated and you're energetically aligned, and then you implement the strategy, then you're going to have the desired results in a more supported way rather than a harder way. So what shows up, I've packed this all together into a framework, which I call the 6 energetic blocks. So I'd love to unpack these 6 energetic blocks with you. And let's dive into them. And then I'll guide you through we're going to do some energetics together today so we can start to see how these are relevant for you. Does that sound good? Let me know in the comments if you're up for doing some energy work together today. And as I said, please do use the comment section to chat with me. Let me know what's resonating, whether you're live or on the replay, and I'll circle back and answer your questions because I would love to see what is resonating for you. Alrighty, so we have the 6 energetic blocks. And what I want to do is just share my screen with you here. So hopefully, let's get the magic working here. Okay, can you see my screen? Let me know if you can see my screen. I have on here the 6 energetic blocks for you. Now you'll see that each of these 6 blocks hold a constellation of subconscious patterning, emotional imprints, energetic incoherence, and they're all real factors behind the inconsistency and the plateauing, if you're experiencing that, or the fluctuating income, all the visibility, contraction, burnout cycles, all the things. But ultimately, it's creating this looping effect where you can't quite make that next level. Perhaps you're hitting that income ceiling and you're really seeing it whatever you're doing, nothing's changing it. It's the same results over and over again, even if they're good results and you're wanting to expand to that next level. And nearly every client that has worked with me in the Wealth Portal has already invested significantly in consulting, in mindset work, high-level business mentorship. But what finally shifts is when you start to do the subconscious and the energetic imprint work and changing your identity and your capacity. This is so key, and being able to be in a more coherent space. So this is where lasting results come from. I'm going to walk you through each block and then we'll start to uncover together energetically how these relate to you. So let me know, are you up for that? Do I have your permission to guide you through doing some energy work together? Let me know in the chat if you're up for it. Give me a yes, like I am up for it. And we'll dive into this together. And of course, if you're on the replay, let me know again, yes, if you're up for it. And I will circle back so we can have a chat in the comments. Alrighty, so let's dive in. So the first one is the resonance rift. So this is what I mean here is when your higher self, your conscious mind and your subconscious mind are operating at different frequencies, different intentions, and your energy can't yet hold the outcomes that you're logically desiring. That's the impact. So you might notice feeling excited and doubtful at the same time. Wanting next level income, but perhaps you're not trusting that you can actually sustain it. Clarity and vision, but then that contraction in your body, like you remember I was sharing how I could feel the contraction in my body, somatic response. Our body is always talking to us. Or perhaps you're noticing that you've got these big goals, but this inconsistent energetic alignment. So you're feeling aligned and then you switch out of it. You're feeling aligned, you switch out of it. And the thing is, this split creates this hesitation, creates procrastination, anybody, overthinking, and the sense that you know what to do, but you just can't quite get yourself to do it. And so the path to breakthrough is creating the full coherence across all levels of consciousness. And inside the Wealth Portal, we bring these three parts of you into alignment so that your field becomes clear, decisive, and magnetic. You are energetically coherent. Then we have the somatic default set point. So your body, your brain, your emotions, your energy holds, think of these as familiar baselines, set points for everything. Wealth, success, visibility, pressure, love, safety, all the things. Every entrepreneur, founder, investor has them, regardless of their income level. And you'll see these as, so see if these resonate, consistent income, but you're not growing, if that makes, or perhaps you're earning more but spending more. Windfalls followed by contraction. Anxiety that doesn't dissolve even when money arrives. This is the thing. If we haven't resolved these things at the level that we're currently at, when we scale everything. So we want to resolve this now so that when we scale the resolve. Does that make sense? Big one from so many people I talk to is the fear of burnout or losing the freedom at that next level, somehow success being a bigger burden. Or the internal panic when things actually start to expand and to work in a more easy way. This is your somatic set point, pulling you back to the emotional chemical state that your system, think of it as your system recognizing it as home. And these default set points, they come through, childhood conditioning, trauma, whether that's, through our leadership, business, childhood trauma, all the things, they all show up in business. Past business experiences, of course, old emotional patterns. Here's a big one, inherited beliefs. So these are the beliefs you didn't even know that you didn't choose. You've picked them up along the way. And your nervous system survival wiring as well. And like any addiction, the body will pull you back to what feels familiar, even if it isn't helpful. So this is why you can have a big month or big investment win, and then you watch something else in your life contract. And clients will often allow more in one area, let's say revenue and opportunities, but then unconsciously limit another. So that could impact your time, your energy, other relationships. And this is so that internal balance stays familiar overall. Does that make sense? Does that resonate? So you want to upgrade the identity that created your current set point. And when we shift your identity, your emotional baseline changes and your nervous system stops pulling you back into old versions of yourself, which leads me on to your current identity. So I want you to think of your current identity is producing your current reality. You can't outperform who you believe you are. So if you're think of it like this, if you're trying to create, let's say, 7-figure results from a multi-6-figure identity or investor level results from an entrepreneur level identity, then the field, your human Wi-Fi, will always stabilize back to what feels familiar. This is why I always say identity and energetics first, strategy second, because you likely might choose a different strategy or implement it in a different way once you've done the energy work. Does that resonate? And the thing is, your identity doesn't upgrade automatically. It anchors itself to the familiar unless you intentionally create it. So I want you to think that your path to breakthrough is to be the identity of your future self now. And this is one of the highest leverages pieces of work that we do in the Wealth Portal, is being able to match you energetically to your next level of revenue, to your next level of investments. And I've seen it time and time again. When you've embodied the identity, then things change. Does that make sense? And then we have your nervous system pinnacle. So this is one of the biggest blocks that I see in high-level leaders. So you're creating the momentum, and then your system may not feel safe holding it. So many people over the years have spoken of this directly to me. So I'd love to know what resonates for you. Let me know in the chat. Is there a fear of burnout, a fear of working harder, perhaps a fear of things collapsing, or a fear of the other shoe dropping. People have often described it like that. What's happening is your nervous system is interpreting rapid growth as danger unless it's been recalibrated. And this is the thing. Overexcitement can even trigger an energy reversal. How often have you said, oh my goodness, I'm so excited about X, Y, and Z? And actually the body is recognizing this overexcitement as nervousness. And this really landed for me when I was remembering that I was doing some public speaking. I think I was at sixth form college, and I was feeling really nervous. And the teacher said, just tell your body that you're excited. It doesn't know the difference between nervousness and excitement. And when I remembered that, as I was doing this work, I was like, oh my goodness, this makes so much sense. Where I see clients have like a big win, something amazing's happened in their business that feels out of the normal, as it were, out of the default set point. They feel really overexcited. The body's gone, hey up. Overexcitement and nervousness are the same things. And so, whoops, we've had a bit of a trauma, and it creates an energy reversal. And then your energy field shuts down, if you like, to protect you. Does that make sense? Let me know if that resonates. So often when I share that, people are like, oh, light bulb, I see what's happened here. So we want to clear the energy reversals, and I'll show you exactly how we can do that. And then I really want to spend a little bit of time on the nervous system pinnacle, because this is how this shows up. So think of this as the capacity that your nervous system has before a response is triggered. So we've got 5 responses. So the flight response, think of this as like, you've got to rush, 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 hurry, 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 move, 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 got to be doing all the time. Anyone here do relaxing? Are you doing having fun, or are you having fun? And that is a serious question, because this is something I recognized years ago. I was like, oh my word, I am doing relaxing. I'm not actually relaxed, I'm doing it. So it can feel like, to give you some other ideas, you can see if this resonates. Other examples, it can look like feeling like you must keep moving to stay safe, or you're rushing from task to task, even when there's no urgency. Speed feels like more pressure than flow. Perhaps you have difficulty sitting still or being really present. Maybe you're overworking when things are going well, or taking on unnecessary tasks to avoid the feeling, the sensation of expansion and spaciousness. Or perhaps you're feeling chased by your own success. Think of this as your nervous system trying to escape the sensation of growth. Your nervous system is in that flight response. Then we have the freeze response. So think of this as, I can see the next level, but I can't move toward it. So this is such a common pattern, and it can look like procrastination despite having absolute clarity, feeling overwhelmed, perhaps by opportunity, staring at the to-do list, but just feeling like, what is this resistance? I'm unable to start. So you know exactly what would move the needle, but you're feeling immobilized. And if you've been in business for any length of time, you know how to run a business, you know how to do the marketing, the sales, all the things. Business principles stand the test of time, regardless of what's going on in the collective. Maybe you're having a sense of heaviness or like brain fog when you're thinking about the next step, or your mind going blank during moments of high pressure or visibility. Here's another way it can show up. You have a big win and then you do nothing for days. So think of this as your body's hit its capacity ceiling, and it's just shutting down momentum to stay regulated. Then we have the fight response. So think of this as like you've got to push harder and control more. So again, it can look like frustration when results aren't matching your effort. You're pushing through the exhaustion, high risk of burnout. You're trying to force outcomes, taking on more because that feels safer than receiving. I've seen that one so many times. I just want to say it again, taking on more because doing feels safer than receiving. Just take a moment to see if you can notice that one in your body. Or it can also look like, tightening up around money, deadlines, or team issues. Feeling irritable when plans change or surprises arise. This one's a big one. Over controlling launches, team members, timelines, all the things. So this Fight, the fight response shows up when someone's learned that efforting is their safety. So you've got to push through. And again, of course, that's, usually from earlier patterns around proving, protecting, surviving, all those things. Then we have the fawn response. This one is around overgiving, people pleasing so you feel safe. And fawning is a subtle one. So often people think, oh, I overgive, and they don't think of it as a trauma response. But I really invite you to see it and contemplate, is this a trauma response where I'm fawning, where I'm overgiving? So it can look like over-delivering far beyond the scope. That's usually after a big win. So I'm really inviting you to notice your behavioral patterns. Perhaps you're fawning by reducing prices or adding bonuses to avoid disappointing someone. Taking responsibility for your clients or your customers' emotions or results. Who's done this one? Saying yes when you mean no. Giving money away. Holding fear that success is going to cause disloyalty or abandonment. That is often behind fawning. So think of fawning as a protection against the fear of loss or conflict or and even outshining others. So you're fawning to keep things the same. And then we have the flop response. Think of this as energetic collapse. So this can show up in leaders who are pushing through long cycles of stress. So it can look like feeling suddenly drained for no reason. Perhaps you're about to write a sales page, let's say, just for example, you're about to do the thing that's going to move the needle forward, and you suddenly feel drained and you've got to go to sleep. It's like someone's just injected you with a sleeping potion. Or perhaps you're needing to lie down after visibility moments, after live sale calls, all the things. Who here has got sick after they've done perhaps a big launch or a big campaign in their business? Or you get apathy, you're like, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to let it go. So like a loss of interest in projects that you used to be excited about. Your flop response is this, your system hitting its absolute limit. And these all can happen around particularly success and growth. And they get activated when the next level feels bigger than your current identity, when expansion feels unsafe because of the past experiences, whether that be burnout or pressure. Your subconscious is trying to maintain familiar set points, and remember, it has a 100% success rate in delivering its programming. This is where we can use our reality as feedback as to what we haven't yet uncovered in our consciousness. Responsibility can trigger childhood protection mechanisms. It can feel too heavy and overwhelming, and we can perceive that there is more responsibility as we grow our businesses to that next level. Visibility can threaten us as well, threaten the sense of needing to belong or feeling that you need someone's approval. And this is why I love coaching through the money, because there's so much that we project onto money and our relationship with money. And I invite you to think of what we've been talking about so far as capacity issues. And once our nervous system is regulated, then these patterns start to dissolve very rapidly. And this is why this is so key, and it creates such accelerated results as you dive into it. When you heal the emotional imprints, expand your capacity and regulate your nervous system so your body feels safer, holding greater wealth, visibility and responsibility. And then the fifth one, we've got two more. So I call this one energetic buffering. So this is where your field is sending mixed signals, and part of you is calling in bigger results while the other part is going, I'm terrified, or I'm doubting this is going to really happen, and the self-protection is kicking in. So this is where we have three states of energy that we're in at any moment in time. We have the flow state, that's where we want to get to, that's what we want to create. That's the coherent wealth, where things are feeling good, effortless, and we've just got that trust and certainty completely embodied at that next level. And then we have resistance and energy reversals. So the resistance is where We're feeling the resistance, and it's protecting a core fear that's part of our identity, our current identity. And that's where we're like, oh my word, I can feel the resistance. What is going on? It's like we're trying to push treacle up a hill, and it just feels so sticky. And then we have the energy reversals that really impact and create huge wonkiness in the energetic buffering, really make us buffer and take longer to get out of the buffering state into that flow state. So we really want to resolve these energy reversals so that you can create more of that coherent human Wi-Fi. So you have a signal that is coherent, and the universe knows exactly what you're wanting, and can make you, you are an energetic match to that, instead of the buffering, making it all go wonky. So this can look like, you might recognize this as inconsistent attraction of, your ideal clients or customers. Perhaps you're attracting clients that aren't aligned for you. Perhaps you're working hard, but you're not seeing, the matching returns. Perhaps you can recognize that you feel like you can attract it, but you can't quite hold it. And so this is creating that roller coaster effect. Let me know if that resonates. So often people go, oh my God, energy reversals. I hadn't heard of those before. And so your path to breakthrough is to clear the reversed and the resistant energies, to restore that coherence so you can stabilize your frequency so that your desires can actually land. And you can feel that coherence in your energy field. And the last one I want to mention is the strategic dissonance. So this block occurs when the strategy you're applying is misaligned with your identity, your capacity, your current energetic frequency, or the stage your business is, truly ready for. So it can look like, business models that no longer fit, or investment strategies that no longer fit, like my own experience, like I shared earlier on. It can look like, pushing strategies so they're feeling heavy. That's how you might notice. You're like, this feels really heavy now. Have I done the energetics around this? Or perhaps you're pushing through and you're forcing high output growth when your energy, it's inconsistent. You're trying to scale without having dealt with the energetics. And the thing is, when you're choosing your strategies, if you choose them, and this is for all of us, myself included, if we choose strategies from a place of fear, a place of urgency, a place of comparison, or a miscalibrated identity, it creates reversals. So your path to breakthrough is your frequency and your identity first, and then select the strategy from your future self state. Does that make sense? And I can share another example of this from my own personal experience. When I first came into business, oh my goodness, this was nearly 10 years ago. Wow, 10 years ago. That has flown by, my goodness. So when I first came into business 10 years ago, having left my senior management role in social services in the UK, I did exactly what high achieving leaders tend to do. I went straight into high output strategy. So I did Facebook ads, funnels, scaling tactics, all the things that I thought would create momentum quickly. Now, here's what actually happened. I used Facebook ads to test my messaging, which in hindsight was a very expensive and energetically misaligned way to grow. The ads actually worked for a while until the market shifted. And what happened was costs went up, the quality dropped, the data became unreliable, and conversion rates fell. So it felt like I was constantly chasing stability. What I couldn't see at the time was that I was still operating from my old social services identity. So the identity built on crisis management, pressure, survival, and holding everything together with sheer force. So I hadn't updated my identity to match the level of expansion that I was trying to lead. So I got to create the same experiences that I'm very familiar with in my own business. Marvelous. So I created energy reversals, I created contraction, and created unnecessary financial leakage. And ultimately, I was trying to solve a problem with the same identity and consciousness that had created the problem. And once I understood default set points, reversals, identity resonance, and nervous system capacity, then everything changed. And my strategy became simpler. I became more profitable. I became more precise with what I was implementing and aligned with my natural energetic strengths. My leadership upgraded. And I really felt that my nervous system capacity expanded. And I moved from multi six figures with a load of hustle to much more coherence. I stopped outsourcing my authority to algorithms. I really focused on the needle mover, which is these 6 energetic blocks, and then implemented the strategy second. Oh my word. And everything became so much easier. And of course, we have challenges in businesses all the time. Business, as I say to my sons, is not for the faint-hearted. And this is why this work is so key. And what I've really noticed is that I'm not rushed anymore. I can hold the spaciousness in my life, and I can hold the duality of life and business, feeling it all. Last year, I had the death of my best friend at the same time, literally at the same time as I was realizing a lifelong dream of visiting Havers Shoal, which is in the Caribbean, which is a spot in the ocean which was named after my dad, who discovered it when he was a navigator in the Navy. So I had such a contrast of duality there of fulfilling a lifelong dream and having just deep, raw grief at the loss of one of my best friends. And life is going to life, as I say. And so the gift of this work is that we're able to have that expanded capacity energetically to hold it all, so that we can make better decisions, we can lead ourselves better, we can lead our teams in a more aligned way throughout all the stuff that we're navigating along the way. Does that resonate? So this is why, I know that strategy works when the required identity is aligned. Strategy is sticky, hustly, and a whole lot harder when we're operating from our current identity. And this is exactly why we do the work that we're doing. And this is the work that will take you from cycling through the same patterns, any Groundhog Day that may be showing up, so that you can step into that next level of evolution. And to really bring this to life for you, I want to shine the spotlight on 2 of our fabulous clients who have been through the Wealth Portals. I have Adele and Matt for you. And I'm going to shine a light on our conversation that we had. This was in previous masterclasses. So I'm going to introduce you to Adele first, and then I will introduce you to Matt. And then after that, we're going to dive into helixing. So stay tuned.
There we are. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome, Adele. Thank you for coming and joining us.
Oh, it's great to be here. And hello, everyone. It's so good to see you. This is a great place for you to be.
Do you want to introduce yourself, Adele? Tell people what you do, and then we'd love to dive in to hearing your experience of transformation
Sure.
so far.
Yeah, so I live in North Carolina in the central eastern seaboard of the United States, and I have been a psychotherapist, a hypnotherapist, and an abundance coach for women business owners for years. And I came to Louisa because I had actually inherited money and I was starting to fall for scams. So I knew I was in trouble because I didn't think I was worthy of having more than what I had. So we've been working together for about 9 months. And I have to say that I was just realizing today, while you were talking, Louisa, about the nervous system, mine is so much calmer. And I'm not saying I wouldn't fall for one, but I can spot a scam a mile away and I just say, nope, that's not for me. And I'm rebooting my business and I actually love doing sales. I love talking about money. This was not the case before. I've done some other coaching programs. I find that this wealth portal has been it's the deepest. It's the deepest. Others can be on the surface and they can be very helpful. They can also be mental, but because this is emotional and energetic, and most of us women are emotional, energetically driven, this really has hit me in specific ways that really, really have helped so much. And of course, you've seen Louisa in operation for a few days, and you know how lovely she is, but she's also incredibly, incredibly intuitive and very experienced, because she'll say something and I go, well, where'd you get that? And she said, working with my clients. It's like, oh, okay. You have a breadth and a depth of knowledge and experience that's really, it's so healing and so lovely. And there's work to do. It's not that you take the magic wand and go bonk, there you are. No, there's work to do, but it's good work and it's very effective. And I've just loved being here. And I've loved the people I've gotten to know. And I'm happy to say I have a few friends now in the Wealth Portal who saw the opportunity and said yes. And I guess what I would say, if you're considering working with Louisa in the Wealth Portal, it's an investment of time and money and your energy, and you may not feel like you have it, but I actually had an energy reversal when I talked to Louisa about doing the program initially, because I was muscle testing. I knew I wanted to do it, and I would muscle test and go no. And so you, Louisa, would said, yeah, is there part of you that's reversed and thinks this is impossible for you? And indeed, that was true. So I got in. I've just been so grateful. You, Louisa, I don't know if I've told you this, but you are the best. It's about money, but it's about so much more because it's about everything, right? Like you've been saying, you're the best coach I've ever had, and I've had a bunch. So thank you. So if you're thinking about working with Louisa, I would give it like a million thumbs up, and because you'll get a lot out of it, and you'll be able to share what you learn with your clients and have more clients.
Thank you for coming and joining us, Matt.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Do you want to introduce yourself so everyone gets to know who you are, what you do, where in the world you are?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Appleby. I live in Yorkshire in the UK. I have a couple of businesses. So I run a personal training studio and also, I guess you could call it a bit of yoga and sort of healing type modalities is the other thing that I do.
Love it. I love it. Thank you so much for coming to share your experiences with us. So let's start with what was going on before we started to chat about coming and joining us in the Wealth Portal. What was your reason for stepping into the Wealth Portal?
Of course, yeah. So the main reason was I'd already identified I'd got a lot of blocks and stories and things that weren't quite aligned to do with money, shall we say. And my business had kind of reached a bit of a glass ceiling where I sort of hovered around at a certain level of revenue. And no matter what I did, I seemed to kind of keep hitting that ceiling. And, you know, like I'm guessing most people here, I've been to a couple of these kind of master classes. Really liked Louisa's approach. Although I'd done a lot of kind of coaching and sort of work on money otherwise, this was the thing that kind of connected the dots and led to that further success.
Hooray! So excited to hear. So I think it'd be helpful for people to hear what your experience is in terms of what's been most helpful, experience of the community, and if you're up for sharing some of your wins,
Oh,
all of
sure.
that good stuff.
Yeah. So I've found having that regular container, so it's, you know, there are similarities with what Louise is offering here. Of course, it's a bit different when it's in a kind of a more structured group. But having that regular touch point, there's a wealth of materials to work through and sort of go out and under your own steam. I've got a lot from the community too, so you know you will meet a lot of like-minded people in there, and already you know forged some really quite strong relationships there with other members, which has been fantastic. So you know potential for future collaborations and things like that. So compared to where I was at versus where I've got to, I'm now consistently having £10,000 months, which is fantastic, and I'd never never got on there before, and like I was saying, just kept hitting a ceiling at around about 8, and then yeah,
Get past that amount.
yeah, so that's fantastic. I've also sort of created more space to create more in my other business too, and starting to move that forward because that one's more of a bit of a passion project, I guess. It's always something that has been on a bit of a back burner, and I'm sure some of you can relate to that too. So starting to bring that out more prominently and create some things of real value there too.
Oh, I love it. This is so awesome. So awesome. Well, congratulations on hitting your intention, smashing it
Okay.
out of the park. It's so exciting, and that
Mm,
growth continues from here.
yeah.
Um, I guess before we wrap up, what might be helpful as well is for if you were talking to someone who might be thinking about working with us in the Wealth Portal, one of our programs, would you have any advice for them as they're in that decision-making mode?
Yeah, I would just say kind of go with what you learn in today's workshop if it's your first. If it's not your first, then it's a repeat visit. Ask yourself why you're here again, first of all. There'll be some curiosity there. I'm sure Louise is open to having a call with you if you are interested in what else she offers. Um, just kind of really lean into it and trust your instinct, whatever that may be. Um, yeah, something else that's just cropped up that I'll share is that, and Louise will probably laugh about this, when we first started working together, I had a lot of resistance to even sort of talking about figures and money, and that relationship's gotten easier. Um, but yeah, that was a big part of my kind of story and conditioning, that I didn't want to talk in real terms like that. It's like, let's pretend that the figures don't matter. But now I absolutely realize that they do matter. So yeah, that's
That's
been a huge.
huge.
I would love for you to have these kind of results that our clients do. And a huge thank you to Adele and Matt for that conversation that we had earlier. Alrighty, and today you're going to start to experience this in real time. So who is up for helixing together? Let me know in the chat if you are up for it. Give me a yes if you are. I'm going to walk you through the Helix method. This is our transformational energy psychology modality that I use with my clients. I'm the founder of the Helix method. So it's my honor to share this with you. When we Helix, what we do is we start each practice with a higher self invocation, as this grounds and centers you and reduces outside interference from your environment and also from your conscious mind. I'm then going to guide you through self muscle testing, or energy testing as we call it, using the sway technique from applied kinesiology, where you use your body like a dowsing device. So this is where you're going to stand and ask a question, and your body is going to give you a yes or no response. I'll talk you through this in a second. Now, this is my preferred self muscle testing technique, as it helps you to connect somatically and to actually feel the energetic imprints in your field. And you'll see what I mean as we dive into this. Now, if you've never self muscle tested before with the sway technique, then I want you just to take a moment now to get your baseline response. So I invite you to stand with your feet hip width apart. And I'm just going to quickly show you this screen, because this will give you an image. You share this with you. Okay, here we go. So you can hopefully, yeah, you can see the image now. So you're going to stand with your feet hip width apart. I invite you to relax your knees and to close your eyes and to say to yourself, body, go forwards for a yes, go backwards for a no. And then I just want you to say, yes, 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 yes. And just give it a moment and notice how your body responds. You may feel a sensation around your chest area with your energy kind of being pulled forwards. People feel it in different parts of their body. And when you've got that baseline response and you noticed how it felt, I then want you to say, no, 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 no. And then just pause and just allow some time. Some people will respond very quickly, and others you need about 30 seconds or so. No, 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 no. And then just notice how your body responds. Now, if you get the opposite to a forward being a yes and backwards being a no, I want you just to breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4, and then just tap your hands like this. And then say, body, go forwards for a yes, backwards for a no. And then do it again. So you go, yes, 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 yes. See how that responds. No, 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 no. And see how that responds. So typically you will have a gentle pull going forwards for a yes and a gentle pull going backwards for a no. Now, if you go round and round in circles, that's showing that you have an energy reversal that I was talking about earlier. And then I want you to try this with things that you know to be true, so your conscious mind doesn't try to argue with you, and know that doubt will come in as resistance to protect the fear that is part of your identity. So just notice if that happens and say, I see you, resistance. I gotcha. So try it with things like your name, your age, where you live, to see how it feels as you get your yes and no responses. Where do you feel it in your body? So you can say your name. So I would say, of course, my name is Louisa Havers, and I'll get a yes. And then you say something that isn't your name. For example, you say, my name is Minnie Mouse. I can feel myself going back, and you'll get a no response. So this practice is going to give you your baseline response. You know how it feels before we start diving in and uncovering what is hidden and things that your consciousness might be trying to protect you from. So if you're on the replay, you can press pause now if you need to create your baseline response. And we're going to move on in a moment to our flow. So what we'll do is our higher self invocation. I'll then give you some phrases to self-muscle test so you can uncover your priority that is impacting your upper limit. And then we're going to imprint some new self-concepts and beliefs to start to change your energy, contributing to changing your identity and changing your reality. And then we're going to wrap up our session with living in the energy of the question. So we ask a question here as if it's already true. And the key is asking it with the energy of curiosity and awe behind it, as rather than trying to consciously find the answer. Let the answer come to you, and I'll guide you through when we get to that piece. And we do this specifically, very strategically. We ask this question after we've raised your frequency, so it's easier for you to hear the wisdom coming from your higher self-consciousness. Does that make sense? And then the key thing is to take action on the ideas and synchronicities that start to unfold. Alrighty, so we're going to do this together so you can see and feel what this looks like in action. So I want to guide you through. So for this, you can stand or stay seated. We'll stand in a moment. If anybody here cannot stand, then you can do the swaying technique sitting down. You just need to be, if you are able to, seated on the edge of your seat so that you can kind of rock backwards and forwards. So just have a little play with it and see what's comfortable. So I've done this so many times now. I can sway using my seated down or using my head. But if you've not done this before, I really want you to focus on standing up, because this is going to give you the most kind of sort of dramatic responses, if that makes sense. You're going to be able to really feel the energy around it. Alrighty, so we're going to do your higher self invocation here. So I invite you to bring your attention to your soul star chakra, which is about 18 inches above your head. So just kind of bring your awareness to that. This is your gateway to your Akashic record. And we're going to increase your life force energy by breathing in for 4, holding for 4, and breathing out for 8. And I want you to do this 3 times, and just do this at your own pace. Everyone's going to have a slightly different rhythm. Just taking a moment now to breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and breathe out for 8, 3 times. Your life force energy is getting bigger and brighter, bigger and brighter, bigger and brighter. And then I want you to speak to all levels of your consciousness. So really allow these words to land and to be meaningful if that resonates for you. Speaking to all levels of my consciousness, I intend that in the name of divine truth, love, and light, let all information come from my higher self and be in alignment with my divine truth for my highest good and the highest good of all. I am creating a clear channel of communication and manifestation between my subconscious, conscious, and higher self, so that they are 100% connected and in perfect alignment, and all working towards my highest path and purpose. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just notice how that feels in your body. And then I invite you to get ready to muscle test. I'm going to give you, I've got 5 phrases that I want you to test, and you're going to get a yes, no response, or you might go round and round in circles or stay like a plank, which will give you that you have an energy reversal. And as we do this muscle testing, I really want you to pay attention to the somatic response in your body. So just allow yourself a little bit of space in between saying the phrase, noticing the yes, no response, and just notice if you notice any pressure changes, temperature changes. You might get hot and sweaty or cold. Or you might start yawning. You might start farting. all the body functions, we love them all. So just notice what you notice and let me know in the chat. And we're going to test these now. So now I'm using the currency example here in British pounds, but I know we've got people joining us from all over the world. So just swap it out for the currency that you're in. So I want you to take a moment now to think about over the next 30 days, the revenue that you're wanting to call in, or the income that you're calling in. And so you're going to say that number specifically. So I'm safe to receive, let's say it's 100K in 30 days, 10K in 30 days, whatever it is. And I want you to say it out loud and then notice if you get a forwards yes or backwards no. How does your body respond? What's the somatic sensations? And make a little note. And of course, you can screenshot these if you want to make a note of these to keep afterwards. After that one, I want you to say out loud, when I have the number, so 10K, 100K, whatever it is, then I will be able to financially relax. When I have, insert specific desired amount that you're working with, you're calling in, then I'll be able to financially relax. And then I want you to say out loud, I give myself permission to receive that desired number in 30 days. See if you get a yes or a no, make a note of it. Again, make a note of the somatic responses that you're getting. Some of you may feel things very viscerally. Some of you may not feel anything at all. Also pay attention to any memories that are popping in, even if you're like, why has that popped in? It's got nothing to do with this. If it's popped in, it has got everything to do with this. It's popped in for a reason. Then I want you to say, I believe I can make and receive XYZ in 30 days. Again, pay attention to the somatic responses, yes, no response. And then the last one, I have an energy reversal to do with receiving that desired amount in 30 days. So I'll give you a moment now just to start to muscle test these, and then we will come back together and I'll guide you through. So we'll just take another few moments. Notice what you notice. And for those of you on the replay, let me know in the chat what came through for you, any strange sensations that you had. And if you have found a block or resistance of one of these beliefs that are no longer serving you, then we're going to start to change that, and I'm going to guide you through. And just going to show you what we're going to do here. So we're going to say a phrase, and I'll give you the phrases, specific phrases in a second that are relevant to what we've just uncovered. But as we do this, there's 2 acupressure points that I want you to become aware of. When we're releasing a belief or an emotion, I want you to hold CV17. So that's that center point in the middle of your chest. It's where in between where the rib cage is, and it's the soft bit. So you can see on the diagram that it's directly in between the nipple line. This is a man's chest here. So ladies, depending on where your boobs are, you may need to lift your chest up to get your hand in to find that CV17 point. And then I want you just to hold it. So I hold it with my left hand, hold it like that, as I'm saying the releasing statement. Now, when you are releasing an energy reversal, I want you to do the karate chop. You may be familiar with this one. Many are. So you're just tapping this as you're saying the phrases out loud. And what we're going to do is out loud and internally. So what we're going to do is we'll say the phrase once out loud and then twice internally. So that means that you're holding that intention for more than 17 seconds to really adding energy to it. And your consciousness is listening to the words that you're saying. You're saying, I'm ready to release. So it's like, oh, she's ready to let it go. He's ready to let it go. And then I release and delete this from all dimensions and levels of consciousness. Does that make sense? So let me give you the phrases here, and I'm just going to explain them a little bit and then create some space for you to dive into this. I'll guide you through the first one together. So the phrase for the first one is, I'm ready to release feeling unsafe to receive 10K in 30 days, 100K in 30 days, whatever your amount is. I release and delete this across all dimensions and levels of consciousness. As you're doing that, you're going to say it once out loud and then twice internally. You're holding CV17. Now you'll notice on number 3 and 4, I've highlighted it in yellow because I wanted to remind myself to explain this. So we're going to say the phrase as in a combination so that it speaks to your subconscious. So when you muscle tested, if you muscle tested and got a no for I give myself permission to receive XYZ in 30 days, then you're going to release this one. So you're basically going to do these ones for the ones that you need to release and change. So if you got a no for I give myself permission to receive the desired amount in 30 days, then you're going to say it as I'm ready to release this, give myself permission to receive XYZ in 30 days, no. I release and delete this across all dimensions and levels of consciousness. You do that by holding CV17. And I hear you, but Lou, this isn't grammatically correct. It's okay. We're speaking to your subconscious. And what we're doing is we're using the language of the belief that we had previously tested on, and we're just bringing in no, because that's what your body did. So it doesn't have to be grammatically correct. We're speaking to your subconscious, and so it will get this, it will understand this. So that's where, if you're ever in like doubt and you're like, how do I reword this phrase? And this is because what I'm doing is I'm avoiding as much as possible as using things like don't. Because some people's subconscious doesn't hear that. So it's a little bit like if I said to you, don't think of a pink elephant, your subconscious immediately thinks of a pink elephant. It didn't hear don't. So we avoid that as much as we can. So this is why we've phrased it in this way. Alrighty, so I'm going to guide you through the first one, and then I'll pop some music on so you've got some space to do the other ones. And then we will come back together to move into the imprinting and really ramping up your energy field. Okay, I'm excited for this. Alrighty. So for this releasing, and if you don't need to do the first one, then just follow along and swap out the language with one of the ones you need to do. Alrighty. So I invite you to start to bring your heart into a coherent state by breathing in for 4 and breathing out for 4. Filling your heart up with love. I love, I love, I love. Holding CV17. And then saying out loud, I'm ready to release. Feeling unsafe. To receive. Insert desired amount. In 30 days. I release and delete this across all dimensions and levels of consciousness. Just breathing in for 4. Breathing out for 4. Just notice how your body's responding. And then I want you to say it internally. I'll say it out loud so you can follow along. I just want you to pay attention to the somatic responses and to hear you're saying it as a thought. So you can hear the thought. I'm ready to release, feeling unsafe, to receive in 30 days. I release and delete this across all dimensions and levels of consciousness. Breathing in for 4. Breathing out for 4. Okay, and then we're saying this out loud once. One more time, internally, I mean. I'm ready to release, feeling unsafe, to receive, desired amount in 30 days. I release and delete this across all dimensions and levels of consciousness. Just taking a nice deep breath in and out. And then just do a little body scan just to notice how this feels in your body. And then I invite you to move on to the next one that you need to clear and change. And I'll pop some music on to give you a couple of minutes to start to clear these. You've likely got between 2 or 3. Everyone will be different. There's no wrong. There's no wrong. We're just clearing the upper limits, clearing the upper limits. I'll pop some music on for you as you dive into this for a couple of minutes. How's everybody doing? We'll come back together in just one more minute. If you have another one to do, you can do that now. Alrighty, so just going to shift gears a little bit in a moment. Let's give you a moment to wrap up the one that you're just clearing. We're going to segue now into creating aligned coherence. So this is where we're imprinting into your human Wi-Fi, the belief, the thought, the emotion, the experience that you're intending to bring yourself into resonance with. We actually do this through a range of techniques, including inner rewiring beliefs, self-concepts, out loud rewiring, new beliefs, self-concepts, and visualization, and some really advanced techniques I teach inside the Wealth Portal and our Dream Bigger membership. So for today, we're going to be focusing on the inner rewiring technique and the out loud rewiring. So for this, I'm going to invite you again to bring your heart into coherence by breathing in for 4, breathing out for 4, really filling up your heart with love. And then I want you to, for the inner rewiring for 30 seconds, I want you just to think the thought. The first one, I'm so happy and grateful I've now received that amount. I'm so happy and grateful I've now received blah, blah, blah. And then we'll move into I feel so accomplished, motivated, and in flow. And then we'll do I'm the kind of person who has those desired cash months. So I want you again to use the specific amount that you're calling in. Then I want you to say large sums of money come to me easily and effortlessly. Again, we're going to do that for 30 seconds. And then the final one is it's working, it's working, it's working, it's working. And I'll pop some music on and I'll give you a heads up. So I'm going to do the timekeeping so you don't have to worry about that. So I'll say right now we're going to move on to number 2. Number 3, etc. And then for the out loud rewiring, for 1 minute, you're going to say it out loud. I'm the kind of person who has XYZ desired cash months. I feel so accomplished, motivated, and in flow. I allow this across all dimensions and levels of consciousness. Alrighty, so I'm going to pop the music on for you. Just turn it down a little bit. Okay. So hopefully you can hear me. Beautiful, beautiful. Alrighty, so inviting you now to start to breathe in for 4, breathing out for 4. You're getting your heart into a coherent state. Fill it up with love. I love, I love, I love, I love. I love. And now moving on to that first one. I am so happy and grateful I have now received. I want you to repeat that for 30 seconds. Okay, beautiful. Moving on to the next one. I feel so accomplished, motivated, and in flow. Beautiful. Moving on to the next one. I'm the kind of person who has, insert the amount, cash months. I'm the kind of person who has XYZ cash months. Beautiful. I want you to move on to the fourth one now. Large sums of money come to me easily and effortlessly. Large sums of money come to me easily and effortlessly. Beautiful. And the final inner rewiring is repeating, it's working, it's working, it's working. Beautiful. Okay, we're switching gears a little bit now, inviting you to do the out loud rewiring technique. So for 1 minute, saying out loud and noticing how this feels in your body. I'm the kind of person who has XYZ, insert the amount, cash months. I feel so accomplished, motivated, and in flow. I allow this across all dimensions and levels of consciousness. Ready, bringing it back together. And from this elevated frequency, I want you to now just ask this question as if this has already happened. So you're asking it as your future self with the energy of curiosity and awe. How am I having consistent XYZ cash months? How am I having consistent XYZ cash months? How am I having 100K cash months? How am I having consistent 10K cash months? How am I having consistent 30K cash months? Whatever your amount is. And from this place, just pose the question to the universe. Now, your conscious mind, you're not trying to answer it. We're activating the field so that the synchronicities, the opportunities start to come to you that are in alignment to the frequency that we've just created, that elevated frequency. And some of you will have some intuitive ideas coming to you in this now moment, and others will have them coming during the day, maybe when you're in the shower, driving a car. The key is to notice, oh, I've just thought of someone, call them or text them, whatever your mode of correspondence is. We need you to take the aligned action, follow the bridge of synchronicities that is opening up for you. So I invite you to take one idea, whether it's call someone or a project idea comes in, get it booked into your diary. That's implementing it today, because you may need to take some time to actually make it happen. So take one new idea, implement it today. And then tonight, as you're going to sleep, instead of counting sheep, I want you to say to yourself 10 times, how am I having consistent XYZ cash months? How am I having consistent desired cash months? Does that make sense? And then please do come back and let me know how you're getting on. Would love to continue the conversation in the chat. I'm super excited for you. And of course, if you've got any questions, do let me know. Pop them in the chat. I do encourage everybody to, drink lots of water. There's been lots of energy moving about, and you'll be likely integrating following this session. I would love to know, how are you feeling? Let me know in the chat. How are you feeling? And if you are on the replay, let me know and I'll circle back. We can have a chat in the chat. Chat in the chat. And this is just so key, because when you lead with your energetic alignment to your desired revenue and your desired impact and results, you save time, you increase your revenue, you have more energy because you're leading with the energetics first. And as you know, you've heard from Matt breaking through his upper limit and Adele feeling more confident in holding her wealth. And I've got numerous clients who have had incredible results. People like Joan, who came in, who she was stuck in her investments and sales, and then after helixing and releasing the fear, she saw a huge increase in her investment portfolio and a surge of paying clients, and was able to relax, and she saved days of time downloading her book in record time. We've had Jacqueline, who was returning to her business, I think it was after 2 years sabbatical, and as a metaphysical teacher herself, she knew that it's always energetics first before strategy implementation. And so she wanted to focus on her leadership growth by focusing on her wealth consciousness first. And after helixing and being in the program, well, this happened during the program, she received a large payment she'd been waiting for. That suddenly came in, and she'd been waiting for ages for it. And she won some fun things on the lotto too. And she was feeling so much more confident in, relaunching her business after her sabbatical. We have had Tina, who tripled her income in the first 8 weeks of working together. Steph, who, once she uncovered the hidden belief, which she was really surprised was there, and it was something to do with not wanting to provide for her family, even though this is exactly how she had set herself up, and that's what she was telling herself she wanted to do. And after that piece was cleared, she found clients were reaching out. She got payments stacked in advance for her business, and that saved her hours and hours of time and likely energy reversals, because she had that coherent flow in place. So if you are sitting there thinking, I need support in actually uncovering my blind spots and subconscious programming and what is vibrating out from my energy, creating my current results, and I want to do this quickly without trying to second guess and haphazard my way through it, and I want to get there more quickly and feel fully supported along the way, then I would love to invite you into the Wealth Portal. And I have created this for you, for founders, investors, coaches, and entrepreneurs. It's going to support you to claim higher levels of wealth, more overflow, without getting trapped in endless healing patterns or adding more work to your plate. Most clients experience an instant shift within the first 24 hours. And when you register, I'm going to reach out to you and I'll show you exactly what to focus on. And then our goal is to see a significant breakthrough within the first 45 days, and then we build from there. And we utilize the precise energetics of the Helix method and the Akashic records to dissolve the interference in your human Wi-Fi and to collapse that distance between your current reality and your highest timeline of solid expansion. So you'll get 6 months of wealth energetics coaching and support. It's in a small group. We have 3 calls a month to support you with what's coming up for you personally, and you'll get your hands on our on-demand activation library with proprietary frameworks and guidance to heal the 6 energetic blocks that are going to catapult your up level. And you get to keep these for life, so you can dive back in anytime after the live component has completed. You can pop in between calls in our private Telegram community. I've designed it so that it saves you time, so you can get that instant clarity instead of hours of overthinking, or if you're feeling stressed about something that's come up in life or business. Plus, you'll also get access to our little book, a little black book of vetted contacts for your investments, and 6 months inside our Dream Bigger membership, where we host our Akashic record activations. And I'm super excited to offer this to you. And this is the best part: as a member of your wealthy place, i.e. you are here watching this with me either live or on the replay, I've got some juicy savings for you. Right now, you can enjoy 10% savings on our pay in full and our payment plans. This is available until the 6th of April, 2026. So just putting that time frame in there for you. And from all of that, you're going to walk away knowing exactly how to reset your wealth default set point and calibrate to a new financial goal anytime you want for the rest of your life, regardless of the global volatility and all the things that are going on in the world. And I've got something really exciting for you. For the first 3 that pay in full you will receive a private 45-minute wealth ascension activation in the Akashic Records with me. Normally a one-to-one with me is $1,500. That's US dollars. So I'm super excited to offer this as a really, really juicy bonus. I've only got capacity for 3 for these. So that's available for the first 3 people who are up for paying in full. So if you go to louisahavers.com to the wealth portal, let me make sure I've got the right link for you, and I will pop it in the chat, and then we can go from there. If you've got any questions at all, of course, then just pop them in the chat, and I will circle back and get them answered for you. And I'll just see if there's any questions there now. Bear with me a second. I'm just going to make sure we've got the right link. I'll pop it in after I've come off live so you've got it ready for you. Alrighty, so let's see if there's any questions. And of course, if you're on the replay, you might be like, I've got a question. Alrighty, so I think of questions that people often ask me, then that may be helpful. So one of the questions people can, and this is like the subconscious wanting to keep things 100% the same. Keep things same. So we're going to put a bit of doubt in. So you might be thinking something along the lines of, will this work for me? Absolutely. You will walk away with a completely different mindset, consciousness, and vibrational attraction point about money and wealth. You're going to be in an energetic vortex with like-minded colleagues, and that amplifies your own frequency. You've got the energetic momentum of everybody on the journey together, being witness to each other's breakthroughs and sharing that deep connection and joy, and friendships are life. It's just absolutely incredible. I love the community in the Wealth Portal. You'll have the accountability within the group, so that helps you to keep moving forward as well, plus access to my intuition and 20 plus years of expertise, so that your blind spots don't divert you and slow down your success. You'll remember Adele saying how she was like, I want to do the program, but when I'm muscle testing on it, I'm getting a no. And this is why I'm always saying you've got to always ask questions in a basket of at least between 3 and 5, so that you can uncover what is actually happening. Otherwise, you're getting you're reading the resistance rather than what's truly in alignment for your highest path and purpose, if that makes sense. What I know to be true is that when you heal multidimensionally, so think of your soul, your mind, your emotions, your body, across all the dimensions and levels of consciousness, and then you bring that in and apply your strategies for your business, then your success is inevitable. And I encourage you to show up to the calls live if you can. And if you can't, because we've got people, tuning in from all around the world, then we have got replays for you. And we've also got the private community as well, so that we can have conversations outside of the calls. I've had many clients that come in, and because of the different time zones, they've not come to the live calls, but they've watched all the replays. They've just scheduled it in, made it an appointment with themselves, watched the replay, then jumped in, shared celebrations, insights, ahas, asked me questions in the private community, and then I can do a little video if I need to explain something a little bit more in depth, or I can, type an answer to you there as well. And so that's how we roll, so that we can keep everyone moving forward, regardless of the time zone that you're in, because we're all meeting globally. And in the Wealth Portal, we focus on our unique way of healing and combining that with our proven energetic success habits. And you've started to experience that today. And I just absolutely love seeing the results that people are getting. And you will have an energetic shift within the first 24 hours when you step in. I'm going to guide you on what to focus on. And then our intention is for you to break through your upper limits in 45 days or less. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but that is our goal. Let's make that our intention. And of course, it looks different for everybody. It depends on what your business is, what you're focusing on, where you're at, of course, your business skills and all those things as well. So of course, if you've got any questions in relation to, is this for you, then just reach out and I can have a conversation with you. Our email, if that helps, is clientcare@louisahavers.com. So you've got that to hand as well. If you're thinking, I've already got so much on my plate, I haven't got enough time, how can I fit this in? What I would invite you to consider is, if you're feeling that overwhelm, to recognize that is blocking your receiving to allow more in. It's often a default pattern to keep you at the same set point and the same levels of experience. So we need to get to the root of what's creating that sense of overwhelm, so it's not keeping you stuck. And these are the nuances that I can help you with. So your default set points are going to be kicking in as you're reading the invitation page. And because you're being drawn to your next up level and improving yourself and your lifestyle, so notice what is bubbling up for you, because it's going to start kicking in. It really will. But I'm here for it. I can help guide you through. For me, I just think this is the best investment you can ever make and give yourself. You are going to create results faster by focusing on what I teach you in the Wealth Portal and partnering you with me as I offer you this high level of support and accountability. Let me know if you've got any questions, if there's some other questions may pop in off the back of what I'm sharing here. Often people ask, is this good for business owners? Yes, 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 yes. Because if you're in business, the Wealth Portal is an absolute must. You have a unique ability to have uncapped income. So, if you're wanting to hit your first 6 figures, then come into the Wealth Portal so you can surpass that. If you're at multi-6 figures, and you're like, right, I want to go to 7 figures, then let's do it. Let's dive into that. If you're at 7 figures, then we can do this as well. It's because it's different nuances. Energy is energy, but there are subtle nuances along the way. And we've had people at all levels of business and investments in the Wealth Portal. Many millionaires and many people who've been established in business or coming back from retirement and all the things. So excited to see if you're feeling the pull for you to come and join us. I would love and be honored to support you. And as you know, if you've been in business for a while, you'll know that selling, marketing, creating new income streams in business, it's all a game of energetics. So what I'm teaching you in the Wealth Portal is going to massively expand your money consciousness and your business revenue. So I'm excited for you to say yes to yourself and to come and join us in the Wealth Portal. And if you've got any questions that I haven't answered, then please, again, do pop them in the chat and I will circle back and get them answered for you. And once you've learned what I teach in the Wealth Portal, you can apply these principles across all areas of life for life. So it's a huge return on your investment and the impact on your reality creation. So I'm super excited for you. As I said, just to give you the email again, if you want to get in touch, email us at clientcare@louisahavers.com, and I will drop the invitation in the chat in a second for you, so you have the link there. And just as a heads up, spots are limited because it's an intimate group. We have both incredible men and women inside the Wealth Portal, and we would love to have you with us. And if you want to save 10%, then get in before the 6th of April, 2026. And for the first 3 people who pay in full, you will enjoy an incredible bonus of a private wealth activation in the Akashic Records with me. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I hope that this has served you. I would love to know what your takeaway is. Please do pop it in the chat. And I will speak to you very, very soon. Lots and lots of love. Take care.